Sacktown. It's great to be back. On behalf of the players, the coaches, the staff, we want to give y'all an enjoyable season this year. Reward y'all for what y'all do for us. We want y'all to be very, very loud, loud, loud. Sacktown.
Thank you, Ron Artest. Tonight's officials as selected by the
All right, moments from tip-off. Let's look at the lineup for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And when you talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves, obviously you're talking about Kevin Garnett. He's up front with Trenton Hassel and Mark Blunt, Ricky Davis and Mike James. You see the numbers, 24 points, 12 rebounds. You and I were amazed he only took 9 shots in that game.
Well, he's a guy who should probably take a lot more shots, but he is their go-to guy on offense. He's also their key on defense. I mean, this team truly is built around the big ticket, and that's Kevin Garnett.
24, 12, you see 7 of 9, and perfect from the line, 10 of 10. Well, anytime Kevin Garnett is in the building, you know that he's going to make some plays to kind of get you on the edge of your seat. That's just the type of player that he is. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, as we mentioned, after that home game against Sacramento, they have been on the road. They are 2-1. They lost the other night to Portland, 88-86 on a shot at the buzzer by Portland. They beat Denver on the road to start this 4-game road trip, 112-109. Well, opening night, a lot of great things planned. And one of the tremendous things about coming here to Arco Arena, you not only see a basketball game, but you get entertained as well. Let's watch, listen, and eventually catch up with the golden tones of the Kings public address announcer, Scott Moak.
Sacramento Kings! Out of St. John's, a 6'7" forward, number 93, Ron Artest. A 6'7" forward from New Mexico, number 9, Kenny Thomas. A 6'9" center from California, number 3, Sharif Abdul-Rahim. From Western Carolina, a 6'7" guard, number 23, Kevin Martin. And a 6'2" guard out of Arizona, number 10, Mike Bibby. The head coach of your Sacramento Kings, Eric Musser. Assistant coaches, Scott Brooks, T.R. Dunn, Brendan O'Connor. Thank you.
And we're going to start play here in a moment, but first we want to look at the Sacramento Kings lineup. And without Brad Miller and Sharif Abdul-Rahim, Kenny Thomas, Ron Artest, Mike Bibby, and the red-hot Kevin Martin.
Has he ever been red hot? 55% from the floor and doing it on defense as well. This has been the star of the team thus far, really performing at a high level. Third year, Kevin Martin coming into his own.
Eric Musselman and his Sacramento Kings regular season home debut. So Sacramento trying to even their record at 2-2. And, you know, you look at little things during the season. And listen, I understand it's the first week of the season. There is such a huge difference coming home 1-2 compared to 0-3. I mean, you know, you go in a hole in this conference 0-3. you're 3 games away from being 500, whereas right now you're only 1.
Well, and let's face it, all the big-name teams from last year that won their divisions are in last place in their divisions early on, Denver, Dallas, and Phoenix. So it's early, but the fact the Kings got a road win, that is significant, and really especially since they probably beat the best team of the 3. The Chicago Bulls are probably the best of the 3. So it was a significant win, but let's face it, you're home now, so you got to win at home.
Dwayne Casey in his second year with Minnesota. Last year disappointing, 35 up and 50 down. Well, the entire Malou family here. There's George at the far end, Gavin and Joe. And on the other side of where we sit here, Mrs. Malou in attendance. The entire family minus Colleen here in attendance tonight. I said Colleen. I obviously meant Adrian Malou. Colleen is sitting to my left. Colleen Malou, Mrs. Malou, and Adrian back home in Los Angeles. And always good to see her when we go down to Southern California. She's a mom now. She's got these responsibilities. She just can't, take off. Here's Martin, and a quick foul by James. And Kevin Martin will go to the line, and he will shoot a couple of free throws.
Well, great anticipation. Martin on the tip. He was gone and right to the basket.
So a quick start for Sacramento and a chance to shoot a couple here. Got to see blossoming. And you know what's interesting when you look at a guy like this is when we travel and we talk to people, everybody's raving about him. It's not just us in Sacramento. Everybody's talking about Kevin Martin around the NBA.
Well, they really are. Well, they see the same things. They see a young guy that has a special quickness and leg speed and developed a consistent outside shot. So there's no reason to not believe this young guy is on the right track and on a path to stardom. Because I've felt that for some time. He has always put in the work.
And the Kings come up with a turnover. Now Mike Bibby thought about the 3. Now Ron Artest said today he needs to get on the block to be effective. So he drives to the block. Boy, did he make Ricky Davis look bad right there.
Well, just power against Ricky Davis. Ricky Davis not strong enough to keep Ron Artest from getting to the hole. Well, it's a good point. I mean, Ron Artest is more effective there, and he doesn't have to start at the block, but he has to get there, and that's exactly what he did on that play. He needs to turn down some outside shots, get in tight.
There's Blunt, baseline pop. And that rebound taken by Artest. And Jerry, what an improvement we've seen early in the season in the rebounding for Ron Artest.
Well, he's been just terrific on the boards, and that's something he vowed to improve. He has done just that.
And a travel on Kenny Thomas.
Get a good look at the strength and power of Ron Artest. Davis can't get in front, and pretty soon just kind of lets him go. The strength of Ron driving him right to the basket.
4-0 Sacramento.
Mike Bibby trying to put a little extra pressure in the backcourt to make the Timberwolves use a couple extra seconds.
Here's Garnett. And Kevin Garnett is 1 of 1, and the Minnesota Timberwolves on the scoreboard. I say that because the other night he started off 7 of 7. He actually missed his final 2 shots in the fourth quarter, but he was a perfect 10 of 10 from the line.
Well, he is a real team guy and team leader. He finds a way to be productive, whether he shoots a lot or not. Seeing illegal defense early on by the T-Wolves.
And Mike Bibby will step to the line.
Garnett wanting an explanation, and I think he just got one from Joe DeRosa, the outstanding official.
I talked to several of the Kings players, as you did. They thought that the voice of Kevin Garnett was loud and at times obtrusive during the game towards the officials, and yet there was nothing called. You saw what happened to Mo Taylor and Mike Bibby in that game, and the Kings players just said, hey, if you're going to do that, then let's do it on both sides of the floor. And that's another travel. And again, I'll give the officials credit this year. They said they were going to crack down on traveling, and they've been very consistent about it.
They really have, and it didn't make any difference what color the uniform is. They're calling it on everybody.
And that's the way it should be. And I think that's the way it should be with players talking to the officials. If you're not allowed to do it, then don't do it.
Well, other than maybe Garnett getting by with it, it seems like to me the officials have been kicking guys out.
Absolutely.
I mean, Carmelo Anthony got a quick toss, and
so did Rasheed Wallace.
Rasheed Wallace, so a lot of star guys have
Mike Bibby.
Star guys have been asked to exit, so we'll see how this season progresses.
5-2. Sharif. too strong, and Garnett has it for Minnesota.
Well, nice move by Sharif. Really got the shot he wanted.
Minnesota having a lot of problems hanging on to the basketball. Martin!
Well, beautiful pass. Mike Bibby found Kevin Martin in the open court because K. Martin gets out and runs. I mean, he runs like a prairie wind.
7-2.
You have to be on the prairie to understand that.
Won't be anytime soon, I don't think. 9:20 first quarter. Now the shot clock at 6. And a blocking foul on Sacramento. Non-shooting.
Watch Mike Bibby in the open court pushing the basketball. Sees Kmart out ahead, and Kmart flashes right to the hoop. Just quicker and faster than anybody on the floor.
That foul was called on Kenny Thomas, and that is his first. Shot clock now under 10 to the posting Trenton Hassel, where you have to double. Garnett, near side James, and we have a 3-second violation on Minnesota. So the third Timberwolves turnover.
So both teams turning it over a little bit here early, getting a little anxious.
Spurs a winner earlier. They beat the Knicks at the Garden, 105-93. Tony Parker had 24 points and 10 assists in that game. We'll update you on the other scores as we go through the night. Here's our test, and put it in the book and send him to the line.
Well, Ron Artest, an equal opportunity scorer here early. Kind of busted up Ricky Davis early. Decides Trenton Hassel not strong enough either. Little fake to the outside, then goes inside and up and under Trenton Hassel for the strong hoop. So Ron definitely committed to getting to the hoop.
An 8-2 start for Sacramento. Sacramento shooting 75% as they've made 3 of their first 4. And Davis, that time he got the turn and got the step on our test.
Well, shows you the quickness of Ricky Davis, as you said, able to curl into that lane and just explode before the defense could get to him. He and Kevin Garnett really the focal points of this offense.
There's Sharif from 18.
Yes.
Boy, you like the way this team looks on the home floor, don't you?
You sure do, and really you like what you're seeing offensively. Nice spacing here early, and that's a shot that Sharif has got to take against this bigger Timberwolves team. Bring him out of the away from the basket.
Davis lost it. Garnett. Here's a 3, and that makes it 12-7.
Well, Mike James signed as a free agent in the offseason from Toronto, and he had a 20-point scoring average in Toronto, and he brought that with him.
Well, there's your low post game, even though he missed it, but that's what the Kings have been missing. Bibby went for the steal, and so the Timberwolves with some numbers. And here's Hassel with a 3. Rebound comes to Martin, and he'll accelerate and go right at Ricky Davis.
Well, good judgment. Kmart couldn't get where he wanted. Finds a trailing Ron Artest.
And a 3-pointer for Ron Artest. And the Kings are up 15-7.
Ron Artest, inside and outside. That's about the only places you need to score from.
Goes Davis. Almost traveled.
Ron Artest really trying to wear Ricky Davis right now.
Forced him into a bad shot. And Sharif, look at that save to Martin. Bibby. Last touch by Minnesota with 12 on the 24.
Again, Mike, a beautiful little take down the lane. Looked like he had everybody faked out until he got grabbed and the ball knocked loose.
Here's Bibby wide open, nobody near him. And it's against the shot clock, and the ball will go to Minnesota.
Well, that's one of those shots Mike will make 8 out of 10 times, but that was the other 2.
Jeff Petrie?
Jeff Petrie, let me tell you a story there. Besides being a director of basketball operations, the president of basketball operations, he orchestrated and performed a marriage this weekend, Grant. He married Shelly Everman and Brett Gottlieb. Shelly Everman's the director of basketball operations for the Kings, and Jeff Petrie performed the wedding. How about that?
Jeff does it all.
He definitely does, and got those two young people married, so they're not just a director of basketball operations, also perform weddings.
Kevin Garnett on the turnaround, and now KG is 2 of 2. You make extra money on the side for that, or is that a freebie?
I don't know. I'm going to have to find out.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask Shelly and Brett.
Maybe they gave him a gift.
They surely gave him a gift. I mean, Jeff's talent's not free.
Congratulations to Shelly and her husband. And there's our test. And he will get to the line and shoot 2 with 5:48 left. And now when you talk about Ron Artest, you know, obviously everybody in the league knows he's a great defender. This year, though, he has been rebounding the heck out of the ball through 3 games and picking up the void. And you look at the numbers last year with Sacramento.
Well, Ron, when he came over last year, just provided so many things for this team in 40 games, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Now, Ron has been struggling offensively, no question about it, not shooting the ball well, but his rebounds up dramatically, steals up dramatically, so doing some other things when he gets that offense ironed out, which it certainly looks like he's doing thus far here tonight.
And he was named captain with Brad Miller being injured for a month. And Kevin Martin talked about number 93 leading the way.
Yeah, Brad went down with an injury. He's going to be out for a little period. And so we made Ron our team captain today, along with Mike. And that's a great fit. You know, you got an offense player as a team captain and a defensive. But Ron, man, he's a great person. That's all I got to say. I think, like, if the media or the league, if they're like around him like his teammates are, I think a lot of that stuff would just go out the window. But Ron, he's a great person, great player, and says a lot, especially from where he came from.
And do you think that Ron Artest made a difference to this team last year, Jerry? I mean, you look at those numbers, you know, I don't know what else you can say.
Well, the team would not have made the playoffs without that trade. I don't think there's any question about it. Definitely got a little fire lit under the team, which was definitely without fire. I guess that'd be the best way to put it.
That is a good way to put it. Well, a good start for Sacramento. They lead 15-9.
Well, it's a really good start. You see a lot of energy, and what I like the most is just the great ball movement. You're seeing guys getting open shots, taking shots where they can be effective, and the shots that have been missed have been easy shots. That's what Eric Musselman has to feel good about. When you're taking and missing easy shots, that's a good sign. You know you're going to have a good offensive night.
So our test with 8 points, as we showed you.
Well, and just to get Ronnie off the snide, he's been struggling with his outside shot in particular, and I think that's why you saw him really try to get to the basket his first 2 touches to get something on the board, and that really helps that outside shot a little bit as well.
And Sacramento 4-4 from the line.
That's one thing about players. They know when they're not shooting well. That's one thing about it. Fans and media don't really have to tell them. I mean, there's not a basketball player that's ever played that isn't aware of what their shooting stats are.
And Ron Artest already with 10 points through basically a half of 1 quarter. He is perfect. 3 of 3 and 3 of 3 from the line. That will help your shooting percentage.
That will help it dramatically. Of course, when you're shooting 28 or 9, it goes up a lot.
Goes up quickly.
It goes up quickly.
And nice hustle by Thomas. Martin saves it. Here's a 3. And Sacramento really cooking here in the first quarter.
Started by a great hustle play. Kenny Thomas just out-reacting everybody, out-hustling everybody, and got the ball ahead. So give a little bit of a hustle point to Kenny Thomas on that. And, of course, Kevin Martin really turned down a pretty good shot to find Mike Bibby for a better one. That's just a good, unselfish team play all the way around. And, of course, Grant, you notice the ball went down the sideline and across the court. An amazing thing how easy it gets when you use the whole court.
Sacramento shooting 6 of 9. Ricky Davis stops, pops, rebound Kenny Thomas. And there is James knocking it into the backcourt.
Fortunately, right to the point where Sharif could pick up the errant pass.
Shot clock is winding down. It's at 5 seconds. Thomas goes to work. And a 24-second violation. Sacramento turns it over.
Well, Kenny really didn't have anything going there, but I think he saw the clock winding down, felt he had to try to make something happen. Couldn't.
20-9. Here's Garnett. Traveling. And again, it's consistent. 4th turnover for Minnesota.
Yep, the color of the uniforms has nothing to do with it. A travel is a travel is a travel.
The thing I like, sometimes, the league tries to put an emphasis on it, and then when the regular season starts, it slacks off a little bit, but not this year. I give them a lot of credit.
Yes, I wouldn't say sometimes. It's been that way for 20 years, but so this really is encouraging, isn't it?
Much needed, too.
And Mike Bibby losing control of the ball, which is very rare for Mike, but I definitely think his ball handling has suffered with the wrist and thumb injury, as it, you'd figure it would.
And Mike James hard to the basket.
Real strong take by Mike James. Really an amazing story, a guy that undrafted player that just seems to keep getting better and better.
Martin, Kevin Martin. And Martin has 6.
Well, just an amazing one-on-one move by Kmart off the one leg, able to get that runner to go. That's showing you what Kevin has learned in his offensive game. He can create his own shots now, much better.
22-13. And a foul there. And it's going to be an offensive foul.
Yeah, Sharif had a great opportunity there, maybe just to catch, pull up, and take a little short hook there. I mean, sometimes the idea of getting all the way to the basket's very difficult to do. Sharif's so aggressive sometimes it works against him.
Sacramento with the lead. 22-13, a good start, shooting 63%. Here's Davis. And Bibby off the long rebound. Martin, 2-pointer. Kevin Martin, and he has 8.
Can you say Kmart in the zone? I mean, Kmart, that basket looks as big as the dump truck right now to Kmart.
Doesn't the game become easier, Jerry, when you make your shots? I mean, on the road trip, these were shots better than Martin that weren't falling. They were all falling.
Yeah, it is a simple game when the ball goes in that little round circle up there.
And Blunt fouled. He'll get a couple of free throws. And a timeout with 2:46 left. Eric Musselman, we're going to take you back to last month and day 1 on the job. We're trying to get his first win during the regular season here at Arco Arena. Well, Ron Artest having a big night, as is Kevin Martin. Here's his brother. Boy, look at that, saying hi to Joe Maloof.
I'll tell you what, those acorns didn't fall far from the tree, did they? I mean, saw Ron's dad here last year, and I mean, he was built like that as well.
Full grown. Hey, full grown, as you would say.
I tell you what, that's a full-grown family there. I mean, somebody takes one of the Artest families on, got to be tested.
Yeah, I think that they might have been the kings of Queensbridge.
Yeah,
because I don't think anybody's messing with the Artest down there.
Not more than once.
Nope. And Blunt with the free throw.
Like my dad used to say, well, they're probably like the Artest family. We don't believe in an eye for an eye. We believe in 2 eyes for an eye.
Oh, my goodness. Benny Thomas has it.
King's going to an open set, getting both big people up on the elbows. Opens up a little space for people to operate.
And a slap and the steal by Blunt, took it away from Sharif. There's James, 3-pointer. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, with 2:15 left, make it 24-17.
That's probably trying to create something that wasn't there. Got to be a little more selective. Take what the defense gives you.
Uncle Yark now guarding Artest. Here's the triple team. And that is the first miss from the floor for Kevin Martin. Garnett. KG now with 6.
For the Minnesota Timberwolves doing a nice job in transition offense. Kings finally missed, and they get down the court with an easy one.
24-19. Now Sharif from the perimeter. And the Kings starting to miss some shots here late first quarter. Here's James. Now he kicks out Hassel. Artest got a hand on it. Blunt from the foul line. And that's 4 rebounds for Kenny Thomas.
Blunt can make that shot. Kings got to do a better job of challenging those mid-range jumpers.
Oh, Mike Biddy. And he missed the driving layup. Mike James all by himself. Martin went for the steal and he didn't get it. Now Minnesota on a run here. Sacramento had an 11-point lead, and it is down to 3 after the Minnesota Timberwolves have scored 8 unanswered.
And that's a mistake for Kevin Martin. He's got to understand when he's only got back, you can't go for the steal unless you get the steal. So you got to protect the basket. So that's something he's got to learn. You can't just make an attempt at the ball. You got to go protect the basket.
Kings standing around. And Artest draws the foul. No. And a couple of substitutions is Mo Taylor and John Salmons will check into the game for Sacramento.
Now, John Salmons played very well in Milwaukee the other night. Got extended minutes and very productive. You see the numbers there in 37 minutes. 6 of 11 from the floor, and a good opportunity, Grant, for Maurice Taylor. Really hasn't played many minutes, hasn't been particularly productive, but this is a guy who has the ability to put up big numbers and needs to do that.
And coming into the game for the Minnesota Timberwolves, the rookie we talked about last week out of Boston College, Craig Smith, they're very happy with him.
Yeah, he really is one of those guys, a little bit undersized height-wise, but plays big because he is a big, thick buckaroo, and he plays that way. I mean, he will bang people around a little bit.
26-21.
I think sometimes people worry about too much height on a guy's head, but he plays big. Elton Brand size, doesn't have that kind of quickness, but that kind of strength.
And that's a turnover. Too high for Kevin Garnett. That's the 5th Minnesota turnover. Both teams careless with the ball here in the first quarter. Combined 11 turnovers.
Yeah, we've seen that all around the league. You know, and whether it's the ball or something else, I don't know. But there's no question a lot more turnovers. I think a lot of it is just officials calling travel and a few things like that a little more closely. That's part of it as well.
Palming as well. We've seen
palming. We've seen that called. We've been used to it all.
Yep. Here's Salmons. Thomas missed, and that will do it. So the first quarter comes to a close. Kings shoot 44%, and they lead it 46-21. It was Ron Artest and Kevin Martin. They combined for 20 of the Kings. The Cache Creek question of the game brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort, California's finest casino resort. Jerry, who are the only 3 Sacramento Kings to score 30 or more points in a home opener?
Man, that's, I'm not sure. I'll have to give that some thought.
So here we go with the second quarter. Garnett stays in. And the very dangerous Troy Hudson really was probably responsible for Minnesota winning that game last week.
I thought he was. I thought he was the difference maker. He may come up with a couple of big threes every time the Kings got in position to win the game or to get a little separation himself.
And again, I have to ask, why doesn't he just do that every time down the floor? The guy he's automatic.
Well, he is a part of the reason I think he is a team guy. I think he really does want to get his teammates involved. And he does. Probably to a fault turns down shots and scoring opportunities.
And Salmons just did beat Garnett to the rim. KG got there just an eyelash late. 28-23.
That's one thing the Kings could do a little better job is try to drag KG away from that basket a little further because he's such a great defender. That time almost got to Solomon's shot when John had really beaten his man easily.
And here's the rookie Smith out of Boston College. So the Kings with Solomons, Bibby, Martin, Thomas, and Taylor. Kings started 8 of 12, since then just 1 of 7. So they cooled off, but they do lead it by 3.
That's a shot that Mo Taylor can hit. He's hit for his career. Now, why he hasn't hit it yet here as a King, I don't know, but I think he will start to make that shot.
And another basket by Smith, and it's a 1-point game.
Well, Smith just being in the right place at the right time and taking advantage of nice pass work. So Kings have let the Timberwolves fight their way back into this.
Now Bibby with 5 on a shot clock. Here's a deep 3. Hudson well defended it. And Garnett has it. Kevin Garnett with 8 points, 3 rebounds, and Minnesota looks to take their first lead of this opening half. Bibby holding Yorick on the block. And for Bibby, it's his first team foul on Sacramento. And a couple of substitutions for both teams. Ronnie Price is going to come in for Mike Bibby. And now we're going to get a look at the rookie out of Villanova, the high draft pick, Randy Foye. And also into the game is Justin Reed out of Mississippi.
Yeah, the Timberwolves going to their bench. They were pretty effective with this bench against the Kings in the opener. Now, Foye has not played extended minutes yet, but it's going to be a really good player given the opportunity.
And here is Artest with the steal. Put it in the book. Let's put it to the line. Careless foul by the rookie Smith, and Artest just too strong, and a chance for a 3-point play.
Watch Ronnie Artest just stepping in that passing lane, taken away from the rookie, who really didn't meet the pass. And if you don't meet the pass with Ron Artest around, guess what? You'll get it picked. And Ronnie taking it all the way, and then a little bit of a careless foul by the rookie trying to make up for a bad play on the other end, doubles it up.
And Solomons with the rebound. And knocked out of bounds by Yorick. King's ball. 30-27. 9:55 left here in the second quarter. Here's Martin. Wow. How about that? Off balance, fading away. Makes it look easy. He's got 11.
Well, here's my expert analysis on that shot. Wow, I agree with you. I mean, that's just all you can say. I mean, that is big-time shot making there. Tough shot.
There's Hudson. Oh, what a switch of the hands move that was.
That would be like a double foul.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we came to that already early in the season. But that's NBA basketball. I mean, these guys are great athletes who can make tough shots look easy.
And Martin almost lost it.
Kevin's got to remember a loose ball, pick up the basketball. Don't try to dribble it up. Now watch Kmart coming away and just a catch and shoot right almost on the line.
He had his heel up.
I mean, if he had his heel up, it would have been on the line. So as far away as you can get in the corner.
Kind of reminds me of that Sean Elliott shot.
I was getting ready to say the same thing.
I didn't think your memory goes back that far.
Unfortunately, it goes way back. Although it doesn't go back to yesterday. It goes back 40 years ago, but I can't remember what happened yesterday.
Oh, God. All right, 9:10 left here in the first half. Sacramento has a 4-point lead, and that's a bombing violation. So Minnesota with their 7th turnover. Ronnie Price says, I need somebody to throw the ball to.
John Solomon, Maurice Taylor, Ron Artest all ran away from him.
You know what he did was smart, though? He waited to go over and get the ball.
Yeah, don't get the ball. Once you got it, they're going to start to count. Well, you don't miss much, do you, Mr. Nick? Yeah, I can see that right now. You're really sharp early season, and that was not a sharp connection by Ronnie Price and Kevin Martin. Definitely missed connection.
Well, still a timeout on the floor. And Sacramento leading this one with 8:50 left here in the first half, 33-29. Well, it's a pleasure to welcome in Gary Gerald, Sports 1140 KHTK, and the Sacramento Kings Radio Network. T-Man, I want to take you back in time. All right, we got the great KG in the house tonight, the big ticket. I want you to watch the monitor and check this out.
Oh, that's right, baby. We're going to win this one, yeah!
On the perimeter for the three ball. It's an air ball. Gugliotta trying to save does. Garnett gets his first NBA basket.
Team. All right, we are having a few problems hooking up with Gary Gerald. We'll try to see if we can join him a little bit later. But you know what? I wonder when that first basket was made, how many people thought that Kevin Garnett would be the great player that he is. I know some did, but here's the deal. He was taken 5th in the draft. So, you know, if that draft were held all over again, he wouldn't be taken 5th.
No, he'd be taken first.
That's exactly right.
You know, so Kevin McHale made a great pick then. And, you know, I'm not surprised by what's happened with Kevin Garnett. I think he and Kobe Bryant both at that time when they were taken, you know, out of high school, everybody knew they would be spectacular players in time, or felt that they would be. And, of course, they have been. I think the amazing thing to me still, I go back to LeBron James, who had all the hype coming out of high school.
That's right.
And the guy was a great player the first day. We witnessed it right here.
Oh, my gosh.
And I certainly, you know, I've just never seen an 18-year-old like that. And, you know, even as great as Garnett was at 18 or Kobe Bryant was at 18. No comparison. I mean,
no comparison.
LeBron is a man playing a boy's game right away.
Well, I just think the big difference was that LeBron came into the NBA with that quote-unquote NBA body. Those Garnett didn't.
No,
I mean, you know,
and Kobe did. I mean, most 18-year-olds have to grow into it. I mean, that is the normal God's plan, so to speak. But yeah, LeBron definitely came in fully developed. Certainly, there may be a young man at Ohio State now. I'll be a freshman. Greg Oden out of Indianapolis, a 7-footer that you know, maybe, and that's almost the same kind of category as LeBron as far as a developed 18, 19-year-old.
Scary. My, how the game has changed.
It sure has.
Well, the T-Wolves started the game 4 of 10 from the field, but since then they've picked 9 of 13. So they've gotten hot. Now we have a foul on Sacramento. It's on Ronnie Price. That's his first and the second team foul.
Now, fortunately, even though Timberwolves have really fought their way back, Kings have continued to score the ball, even though they're not shooting at the same percentage. Always a key with the Timberwolves is when Garnett's off the floor, you really need to gain ground.
Here's Smith, and Ronnie Price has it. Kings have led from the start.
Smith well defended there on that, and not known for his outside shooting.
John Salmon short, and the rebound Smith.
Timberwolves really change ends well and try to go into the post as soon as they can push the ball down the floor.
And a steal. Martin right at Yard, lost it. And Sacramento with the turnover, and there's the foul on John Salmons. Kings with 9 first-half turnovers already.
Kmart just lost the ball in the open court.
13 foul on Sacramento. Boy, the Jazz are playing good ball. They're winning at home against the Pistons.
Yeah, I watched them the other night. I mean, I think they're playing really, they might be the best team in the West right now, which means absolutely not much.
There's Hudson. Martin. They don't give out too many trophies in the NBA in November, do they?
Well, they might give them out, but they'll take them back come June. So,
Ronnie Price, Yard, walks right in.
Too easy. You got to stop the basketball, and that time the ball wasn't stopped. And if it's not stopped, they'll go right to the basket. So Yard made that look easy because it was.
You got to at least use a foul. There's Salmons. And we have a foul. John Salmons will get to the line. Sharif Abdul-Rahim is going to check back in. It seems that the Kings are starting to get into that one-on-one mode again right now in the second quarter.
Yeah, just not enough patience. We're getting easy shots early, moving the ball so well, getting easy shots now. It's kind of reverted to, I'll go get a shot, then you get a shot, and that's not Kings at their best.
Non-shooting, they say.
Sure looked like he was shooting to me.
I don't know what else he would have been doing. Salmons, nice hesitation. And nope. Now, I think that's going to go as 2 shots.
Do you think that was a shooting motion
I
there?
do. Yes, I do.
Well, he gets to go to the line. Yeah.
Barney Price out, Mike Bibby in.
Now watch John Salmons. A little hesitation and strong move. That's one thing John Salmons really does well. Got a nice hesitation dribble, and he goes to the basket hard and very strong. Likes to take the contact.
That pops out. Sacramento now 8 of 10 from the line. Ben Gordon tonight, 37 points for the Bulls as they way out in front of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, they're just slapping the Bucks around tonight. Of course, looks like the Bulls really, everybody expects them to be, and I think they will be the best team of the 3 the Kings played on the road in an opening road trip, but the Kings able to get a win against the Bulls.
I'll tell you one thing about Milwaukee, and we saw that firsthand. When you get a night when they're making their shots, all right,
oh boy.
I mean, there aren't going to be a lot of teams that beat them when they're all on.
I think too. I think when Bogut can be effective inside, and that makes it so easy then for those perimeter guys. Now you know Michael Ridge will make them every night just about, but when Mo Williams and Villanueva, I mean they're a handful, no question about it.
John Salmons and Sacramento is still with the lead. The Kings have led from the start, shooting 44% and 9 of 11 from the line. 11 free throws for Sacramento, 2 from Minnesota.
Kings again doing a good job getting to the line. They've done that consistently all year. And through preseason.
Dark. There's a 3 from the wing. And last week Hudson was making those shots.
Well, he may yet again tonight. He is a streak shooter.
And Sharif was fouled from the backside by Reed. Non-shooting.
I guess everyone's actually a streak shooter, but Troy Hudson is maybe even more so. I mean, he'll have long bad streaks and long great streaks. So he's just scary when he really gets it going.
That's the 4th team foul on the T-Wolves.
Well, again, Martin careless with the basketball. Marco Yark just almost stole it. So Kmart's got to be careful. Don't just stick it out in front of you.
Well, Yark looks like he really got strong in the offseason.
Well, I think he lost some weight and got stronger in the upper body.
Yeah,
I think he really did not have a good year with the Timberwolves. They were disappointed. I'm sure he was. So trying to correct that.
Boy, that looked like a foul. And here's Martin, and he somehow powers it in, does not get the whistle.
Boy, amazing shot by Kmart. Felt he was fouled, but able to finish anyway. That's a good sign for a young scorer.
36-31, traveling. 9 turnovers, each team with 9.
Well, it's Mike Bibby. He penetrates here, gets into the paint, and finds Kmart at the basket. And Kmart definitely got to look like contact with the lower body, but no call, but able to focus and get the finish anyway. And that when you can jump high, that's a definite advantage. And Kmart can do that.
And again, one-on-one basketball knocked out of bounds. And a timeout. 5:43, Kings ball when we return. Sacramento has a 5-point lead. Of the game. Who are the only 3 Kings to score 30 or more points in a home opener?
How about Lionel Simmons, Wayman Tisdale, and Reggie Theus? Whoa, Otis Thorpe. Yeah, 87 versus the Warriors.
Well, you knew Reggie on opening night would do it.
Yeah.
Mitch Richmond in the middle there. 5:43. There's only 2 on the shot clock. Bibby has to fire, and James has it. Kings shooting 44%. Minnesota at 51%. We keep on talking about the number 42. The defensive field goal percentage is the magic number. Generally, when you hold the team to 42% or less, you are going to win. Right now, they are 10 percentage points away from that. So the Kings defense needs to start getting the job done. And Garnett, no, Blunt rebound, and that's an easy basket.
Yeah, Blunt just took it away from 2 Kings there, and once he got it, he's right on the basket. So Kings overall been rebounding well, but didn't get that one.
36-33. And here's Salmons. Sharif has to hurry. Shot clock at now 1, and he beats it.
Boy, had a great presence, a little step away shot. Kevin Garnett really challenged it, but Sharif with the great focus and finish.
38-33. Marco Yard and Ron Artest has it.
Another strong rebound, Ronnie A.
Sharif will try a 3. And Minnesota has it. Now Garnett, ripped away by Artest. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. And Eric Musselman throws the ball down in disgust. Boy, talk about unforced turnovers.
Well, just a great steal by Ron Artest against Kevin Garnett. He puts the ball on the floor, and that's all Artest needs in order to gauge where the ball is, gets the steal. Unfortunately, throws it right at Mike Bibby's feet.
Davis. Garnett lost it. 11 turnovers for Minnesota. Kings offense, though, in this second quarter has been stagnant, Jerry.
Yeah, it has. Again, not quite the ball movement we saw earlier. Too much one-on-one, and Sharif really trying to do too much offensively, and has really forced the issue maybe too often. He's too good a player to get himself in that situation.
Jerry, explain the travel here, why they're calling this.
Well, before he puts the ball on the floor, he's picked up his foot and actually picked up both feet before the ball hits the floor. You got the. That's never a good explanation, was it?
Well, I think that was a good replay. You can clearly see the left foot, which was his pivot foot, come off the ground.
It comes off before the ball hits. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
But the bottom line is he's very frustrated. I'm talking about Sharif, as you see playing with the basket, because he's been called at least once in every game for that exact violation.
Yeah, and it is a travel violation, so that's one of those things he's got to correct, and they are consistent in that call. Several players doing the same thing, and that pivot foot comes up. The ball has got to come down before it comes down.
That's a habit that you know if you get away with it for all these years and then you got to change it, it's not the easiest thing to do, and that's a blocking foul on Martin. So that stops the clock. With 2 minutes and 46 seconds left here in the first half, and some Bluebirds come out here at Arco with the Kings leading by 3. All right, we are going to try to do this again. Jerry Joe, can you hear me now, G-Man?
I got you now.
That's awesome. All right. All right.
I guess we had a little mix-up a little bit earlier on.
That's right. G-Man, you know, the first basket of a guy that's one of the best, clearly going to be a Hall of Famer. So let's go back and look at that tape again.
Allen on the perimeter for the 3 ball. It's an air ball. Gugliotta trying to save, does. Garnett gets his first NBA basket.
There you go.
Wow, that's a young-looking Kevin Garnett. That's 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness, hard to believe.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. He's had a pretty good career, would you say?
You know, I wouldn't mind seeing him on the Kings, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, he's had a pretty good career.
He does look young there. Hey, G-Man, I do have one question. I think there's rumors, and I wanted to dispel this right away, that you also did the first basket you were doing radio for George Mikan. Is there any truth to that?
When he played for the Minneapolis
Lakers?
Yeah, absolutely. I was there. Thanks a lot, JR.
Sorry, G.
Hey, G-Man, we've just been saying throughout the telecast, it's just great to finally be home. It's the last team that's had a home game on the schedule this year.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, you just to feel the energy in this building that makes this place so very special. You guys, you know, we travel all over the country, and everywhere people ask us, is the energy at Arco as good as it seems when we see it on television? It's better when you're here in person. Just great stuff.
All right, G-Man. Appreciate you joining us.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Jerry Gerald joining us from the Kings Radio Network. And, well, it's just interesting to flash back and look at video from yesteryear.
Well, the G-Man, he's been here for all the good, the bad, the ugly, and has seen them all come and go. And, of course, seeing Kevin Garnett in his first game and watching his, as you said, just absolutely marvelous career, being the most valuable player in this league. Led the people have almost forgotten. Led the Timberwolves to 58 wins just a few years ago.
Beat the Kings in that Game 7
in a great 7-game series.
Well, how about Artest and Martin, and then the rest of the team? Well, you see 4 of 19 when Artest and Martin aren't shooting. By the way, Francisco Garcia is going to come in along with Thomas, Abdul-Rahim, Salmons, and Bibby with 2:46 left.
I think this is such a key for this team, for Francisco Garcia, to really get his game going. Really has not yet. I think a good young player, an energy player, does a lot of things. So probably with the injury to Miller, he may get some of those minutes in a different way. Obviously not that position. But we saw Francisco last year when he got extended minutes and really emerged as a top player. And had an outstanding rookie year, but so far has been a little slump.
38-36. Again, the Kings have led from the start. And Yark with a trip on Francisco, and that will be free throws, as that's the 15th foul on Minnesota.
Yeah, it really looked like a broken play there, because I think that pass by Mike Bibby was supposed to go to Francisco Garcia in the corner, and Sharif actually rolled down into that area. So that's one of the things when you're early in the season, sometimes the plays are just out of sync.
And Francisco will try to make it a three-point game.
Hey! One shot, arm straight in.
Actually out of sync. I mean, not run properly, just for your benefit.
That's so. Thank you. There's Brad Miller
sitting next to Joe Nolan and Scotty Sterling, director of scouting for the Kings, a legend.
He is that.
He certainly is.
I bet you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that's watched more basketball games in their life than Scotty Sterling.
I don't think you could. You're exactly right.
There's James, and it's in and out. Rebound, Sharif.
Yeah, now that the late great Red Auerbach has passed.
Yeah. Here's Garcia. Front iron, no. And that's a bad pass. But both these teams are so careless with the ball here in the first half.
They really are. I think both coaches would like just to take a minute here and say, fellas, each possession should result in at least one shot.
Yep. And that's last touch by Garnett.
Yeah, that really didn't have an opportunity. Lucky that Garnett touched it, because Kenny Thomas was already going to the basket. He's behind him.
Jerry, once again, we always talk about assist-to-turnover ratio. 9 assists, 11 turnovers for Sacramento.
Yeah, it's just that's just not good basketball. I mean, Kings, along with every other team. I mean, you see the same thing with Timberwolves, 11 assists, 12 turnovers.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that teams have got to adjust to, not traveling so much, and certainly taking care of the ball is another part of it, just not careless passing.
Oh, man, another turnover. Wow.
That's 2 balls that's been thrown at Mike Bibby's feet. I think he's going to have to put gloves on his ankles.
Gloves on his ankles, huh?
Well, maybe he could snatch.
And what would that do?
Well, I don't, maybe deflect them softer. I don't know.
Well, you see that. It's the 5th most in the NBA, 19. 3-point game. Boy, that's a foul, and Kenny Thomas with his second. Mike James to the line.
Well, what these turnovers do to you, besides just stalling your offense, but when you work so hard on defense and on the boards, and then are so careless with the ball, it's just such a wasted effort, you know. It just takes its toll on you on the defensive end.
(39-37). Sacramento trying to go to 2-2 and start the streak this year at Arco Arena. In terms of consecutive wins, they're trying to once again really make it difficult for teams to come in here. We saw after the trade last year what a great home court this was, and it has been since 2000. And a tip followed by Kenny Thomas.
Ron Artest, nice penetrating move, got it up soft, and then Kenny Thomas really flying high for the finish.
41-38. We have 60 seconds left here in the first half. Stolen by Artest, and now a foul. And the foul is on Ron Artest.
That's a nice dribble penetrating move here by Ron Artest against James. Gets to the basket, puts it up soft against Garnett. You see it outside the ring, and there's Kenny Thomas flying high to get the nice soft tip.
Mike James. And Minnesota now is 5 of 7 from the line.
Mike James did not have a big game in Minnesota, but is coming back strong here in Sacramento.
John Salmons coming in for Ron Artest with his second foul. Sits.
We'll give Ron a chance to get a little more rest as well going into halftime.
And it's a 1-point game. Under a minute here in the second quarter. Kings came out on fire to start the game. They built up an 11-point lead, but right now it's 1. And nice move by John Salmons.
Well, John Salmons put the ball on the floor, tries to penetrate, and watch his strong move at the basket, changes his hand position, goes past the rim, and gets it up there soft. Takes the contact, keeps hanging, and puts it up soft. The difficult shot, he made it look easy. John Salmons very strong at the basket.
And here's Big Nasty, who'll hear it from the crowd.
Well, still one of the all-time favorites here in Kingsland. One of the classiest young men to ever play in this league.
And James has it, 43-40. See if they go for a 2-for-1 here. Davis. That's good defense by Francisco. And Smith earns a trip to the line. Kings with a lot of home games after tonight. Detroit, Toronto, Memphis, then at Golden State, back home for San Antonio, Utah. One road game at Seattle, then Portland and the Clippers. So a stretch to really pad yourself. If you can play well at home, take advantage of your home court, you can get a little roll going.
Yeah, and you just simply have to win your home games.
In this conference? Yes, indeed.
In this conference, you simply do. Because every road game is a really tough go.
Salmons and Williamson out. That was a quick stint for Corliss.
Yeah, nice solid work by John Salmons. Thought he really provided a nice lift.
John Salmons, as you said, 5 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Here's Smith, and once again, it's a 1-point game.
Like a little zone action here on this last play.
43-42. Final seconds of the first half. Francisco a 3. And that should help his confidence out. 1.3. And the Kings take the lead into the locker room. Francisco Garcia.
He's got the skill to put up good numbers once he gets the minutes.
Minnesota will have the basketball to start this second half. Mike James with Ricky Davis. And it's Trenton Hassel, Kevin Garnett, and Mark Blunt. 4-point game. The Kings have led all the way. Detroit in town Wednesday, and then the Kings are off till Sunday. And I mean, that's some valuable time between games. Garnett, now that looked like he took an extra step, and it's off his thigh out of bounds, and the Timberwolves start with a turnover.
Mike James trying to pressure Mike Bibby, make him use a little extra clock, just like Bibby doing to James.
Shot clock is at 7. Sloppy pass. Nice ball movement now. Artest open. Good look though. And Ron Artest 4 of 7.
As you said, excellent ball movement. Ron Artest a wide open shot. Bibby turned down a pretty good shot to get Ron a wide open one.
And Artest has the rebound. That's his 5th.
Yeah, Ron really focusing on rebounding better and doing exactly that. Doing everything the coaches have asked him. He can get that shot on track from now on, which he did certainly in that first half.
And that's 2 misses for Artest to start the third.
That probably wasn't the shot that they wanted in that situation. Forced it a little bit.
And James with the runner at the other end to make it 46-44.
And Thomas trying to walk off maybe a slightly turned ankle.
.12 on the shot clock. Martin is doubled. And there's Blunt with a block, picked up by Thomas, and he puts it home. Kenny Thomas with his second basket.
Yeah, and Kenny, both his baskets have come on just hustle plays, anticipating a potential miss. So those are just bonus baskets. Good moves by Kenny.
48-44. Nice crossover by James. Stops, pops, and hits.
Mike James coming out aggressive offensively here in the second half. As I said, averaged 20 points a game last year in Toronto. You know he can put up numbers.
Oh, nice pass to Martin. He got too close. He was pushed, and the foul will get him to the line. Beautiful pass, and Martin gets up, shaking his right hand.
And he gets as Sharif, the double team comes down briefly, and Sharif wisely gets rid of the ball quickly. As you see, Kevin, a little bit of push in the back from Garnett, but enough to throw off the shot. But that's good decision-making by Sharif. Just as that second man came down, he knew that Kmart would be open as he cut and got him the ball. So excellent pass from Sharif.
49-46.
That's the mistake so many guys do make, is they wait for the double team to fully form, and that's always the mistake. When that second man comes down, just as he comes down, that's when you make the pass.
Four-point Sacramento lead. Now Blunt from the top of the key, and Artest has his 6th rebound.
You saw 4 white shirts on that board. Beautiful sight.
Artest, and too fast, but look at Thomas again.
Kenny Thomas cleaning up Mr. Garbage Man tonight. 3 baskets on taking care of 3 misses, so those are just bonuses.
Oh, what a giveaway. Mike Bibby. And the Kings have some breathing room with 3 minutes into this third quarter. It's 54-46.
Boy, absolute turnover of all turnovers by the T-Wolves. Like we saw that a couple times last year from the Kings, but man, those just crush it.
Ricky Davis hits a 3 ball. So that makes it a 5-point game.
Yeah, Ricky Davis, sure that with the timing on that couldn't have been better for the Timberwolves.
Davis part of that Wally Zerbiak deal a year ago. Thomas again, and Kenny Thomas now with 8 points. 6 here in the third.
Yeah, Kenny Thomas kind of let open as Mike Bibby got the ball. Mike drew all the attention. He knew K9 was open.
Garnett, rebound Thomas, a lead from Martin. And Martin took a big spill.
Well, this is just one of the all-time amazing turnovers here. Now watch as Mike James and Trenton Hassel get confused. James not paying attention.
Is that unbelievable?
As Hassel threw the ball in, and Mike Bibby right there. That's the all-time easiest 2 that Mike Bibby ever got. But I'll tell you what, that's a 2 that Mike wouldn't have gotten in the past because they didn't really have the style of picking up a 3-quarter court. And Mike was there. I mean, you couldn't have picked that ball off if you weren't there. Just remember that, Mr. Napier.
I'm going to keep that in mind.
You can't steal a ball if you're not there to steal it.
58-49. Sacramento 14 of 18 from the line. Martin leads the Kings with 17. James with the left hand. Sharif with the windmill rebound, and the Kings playing good here in the third quarter. And Mike Bibby. And now the Kings starting this third quarter the way they started the ball game.
Well, Mike Bibby got an easy basket. That may have gotten him going, getting into his Bibblicious best.
And the fans on their feet. Timeout, Minnesota. 60-49, and now it's a 20-second timeout. And it's the Kings by 11. Elsewhere around the league tonight, Golden State, a road win at Dallas. They have had so much success against Dallas on the road the last few years. It is amazing.
Has not got a win yet. How about that?
Yeah, that's hard to believe, isn't it?
It really is. They very well be the best team in the league, but 0-3. But
You know, Don Nelson pretty happy about that one.
Oh, boy.
Going into his former team, Dallas Mavericks.
That's a good point.
That's what I'm here for.
Yep.
Good for him.
60 to 51. Here's Sharif. And Abdul-Rahim with 6.
And a nice little drop-off pass from Mike Bibby. And Sharif had a little arch on that shot. Just a little extra arch than usual. And just a little major swish. The Kings on a nice run now.
Utah wins again. They beat the Pistons by 2. Pistons in town here Wednesday.
Utah playing so good. And of course, the fact they beat the Pistons, you know the Pistons will be a little extra cranky as they roll into town. Guys have been winning 55, 60 games a year for a lot of years.
Well, they're a little different this year without Big Ben in the middle. Actually, they're a lot different. 3 on the shot clock for Garnett. Boy, there aren't a lot of people in the world that can do that.
Well, you maybe saw the only one. Well, maybe he and Nowitzki. There wouldn't be very many big guys that do that, make that play. Kenny Thomas defending as well as he could.
And that's knocked away. And Sharif, nice job to knock it off Blunt.
Now, the reason that play didn't work, I mean, Artest had the great move there, but Kenny Thomas really is not a threat outside. And you'll notice, watch Kevin Garnett. Well, though that's the end of that play. I thought we were going to see the actual play.
Here's Bibby. Short. Look at that rebound by Thomas.
Whoa! That is just Kenny Thomas at his best, taking it over the top of everybody, and then the finish with the left hand.
Kenny is 1 rebound away from a double-double. He's got 10 points, 8 of those points here in the third. Good defense. 64-53. Find your point guard. Well, maybe not. Boy, they cleared the alley for Sharif, didn't they?
Well, that was Kenny Thomas. I mean, that was a big-time screen. Allowed Sharif Abdur-Rahim just to ramble right down the paint. So give Kenny K9 a big assist on that. He took the defenders out of the play.
66-53. Here's Hassel. 3-pointer rebounded by Thomas.
Boy, Kenny Thomas is really taking over this game in the third quarter in an unusual sort of way. All the little things really adding up.
10 and 10 for Kenny Thomas. And that scoops out of Mike Bibby's hands. Eric Musselman thought it was deflected. He walks all the way to midcourt.
Now watch Sharif, and you see Kenny Thomas just keeping James away from Sharif as he just rolled right down the lane. Again, Kenny Thomas doing all the little things, and that's when Kenny's at his best. Just going out there and playing, not worrying about field goal attempts or anything else.
Eric Musselman not happy with that call.
Pleading his case to no avail.
3-pointer. 66-56.
These T-Wolves hanging tough. Few more weapons than last year. Of course, Mike James being one of them.
Five minutes left here in the third quarter. And that time the spacing is real bad.
Yeah, Sharif and Kenny Thomas within 3 foot of one another, and then put extra defenders in there.
And a foul there. Tomorrow the Timberwolves will close out this 4-game road trip in LA against the Lakers. Lakers had their first loss last night, losing at Seattle to Seattle.
Yeah, they got Kobe Bryant back playing though, so certainly the Lakers started off very well. Their first, like you said, 3-1 now.
And Garnett, nope, it runs out. Hassel, blocked by Artest, out of bounds, Minnesota ball.
Well, just the size of Garnett and Blount, a little bit of a problem in there once they both get positions inside. Tough to move them out.
Kevin Garnett. Davis a 3. And an offensive rebound. That's 6 for Garnett.
Clinton Hassel made that awful tough. All he had to do is just catch and shoot a 5-footer and goes into traffic. So making the game hard.
Oh, what a nice pass. And Ron Artest, the recipient of Mike Bibby, putting it right on the plate. 68-56.
Well, big-time playmaker there. Mike Bibby created that easy basket for Ron Artest, and Ron finished.
Here's Ricky Davis. Comes out to James. And the pass knocked away out of bounds.
Get a good look at Mike Bibby here as he penetrates into the paint. Watch a little drop-off pass, bounce pass right to Ron Artest, catch and finish at the left hand. Another look, just leads Ron right to the basket, and Ron using the left hand.
68-56. And there's Blunt with the dunk. So with 3:40 left, it's 68-58. Kings controlling the paint, 34-28. Bibby. Sharif, look what I found. Blocked. 3-on-1. Yard. And that makes it 68-60. Sacramento with their 14th turnover. And now a whistle for a defensive 3-second violation with exactly 3 minutes left in the third.
Well, those are just nothing but 3 points here, hopefully, for the Kings. Bibby's got to step in there and make them.
Dwayne Casey, the longtime assistant in his days with Seattle under Nate McMillan, and actually a couple of head coaches up there, but got his chance, his first head coaching job. Very nice guy. And Mike misses the technical.
Yeah, Coach Casey, a tough situation. Followed a very successful head coach in Flip Saunders at Minnesota. And so Timberwolves fans expecting a lot. Certainly this isn't the same level talent that they had those last couple of years with Minnesota, with Sprewell and Cassell. You know, and they can still play at a high level. Of course, Cassell, I think, can until he's 70 or so.
You know, the players in this league just don't make enough money for speed. And that is a turnover as Jones fell down, and the Kings will have it when we come back. 2:47 left. We're in.
9 allowed Sharif to rumble in for the easy layup.
Pass blocked by Garnett.
And that's why you have to have Garnett away from the basket. Take him out of there.
Three-pointer no good, and here's Blunt knocked out of his hands. Gets it back, new shot clock. And Artest knocks it away. And now I just wonder how many times he gets his hand on a ball during the course of a basketball game. It's amazing.
It really is. I mean, he has just it's like it's a magnet for him.
Troy Hudson is coming in.
But the Kings really have to do a better job in the offensive end of being aware of whoever Kevin Garnett's guarding. You've got to drag him away from the basket if possible, because his real value is helping out defensively at the basket. So he has saved 2 or 3 baskets just because whoever he's guarding, he can slough off.
Ronnie Price, who's out there with Salmons. It's Artest, Abdul Rahim, and Thomas on the forward line. We have 2 minutes left here in the third quarter.
A little like a zone look here from the Timberwolves.
Price. Ronnie Price.
Well, Ronnie Price didn't waste any time knocking one down, but an interesting little zone look by the Timberwolves, especially in that back line. So teams really need to get a little better ball movement to take advantage.
70-60. There's Blunt again with another rebound. That's 8 for him. And the foul called on Sacramento.
Yeah, with 2 7-footers out there, they just have a big size advantage over the Kings.
And now coming back in is Randy Foye. Foye didn't do anything really in the first half. He only played 3 minutes. And Randy Foye replacing Ricky Davis. Yorick will inbound. Garnett 5 of 10 in this ball game. Yorick, the 2-pointer. Thomas, rebound number 11. Nice pass to the open Simons. 73-60. Sacramento with the biggest lead of the night.
Well, again, the subs coming up big. Ronnie Price with a hoop, then follows up finding the open man who's John Solomons, and he knocks down the three ball. John Solomons getting a lot more comfortable shooting the deep ball.
And there's Garnett. That time Thomas had a foul. Thomas fronting, and the pass went over the top.
Now watches Ronnie Price, a quick shovel, and as you see, moving the ball side to side when you can use the entire floor very quickly. Quickest way to move the basketballs by the pass. Ronnie Price did that. That left John Solomons open.
KG at the line for just the first time, which is hard to believe. You know, last week in Minnesota, the season opener, he went to the line 10 times, and he made all 10, and that also was a factor in the ball game.
Well, you know, he is a guy that's normally going to draw a lot of fouls. King's doing a nice job denying him the ball, and that's certainly key. Talking to Coach Musselman, I mean, they want to deny touches to Kevin Garnett whenever possible. You'll give up the ball somewhere else in order to keep Kevin Garnett from getting it, because pure and simple, he's the key to this team's offense.
You know, every coach is different. They have different personalities. When you talk to Eric, is he a guy that just likes to pick your brain and talk basketball?
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's just one of those guys that wants to talk hoops and get your thoughts. And, you know, if you got a question, you can ask him. Very comfortable talking basketball at any time. So, you know, very easy to deal with in those regards.
73-61, Garnett. And that is in and out. Rebound, Smith. And we have a late whistle, and the foul will get Smith a couple of free throws with 26 seconds left.
Yeah, the Timberwolves really being more aggressive on the offensive board now. And, of course, Smith a big part of that, along with Garnett and Blunt.
Hey, Kings fans, be sure and join Slamson, the Sacramento Kings dancers, and a Sacramento Kings player for a day of fandemonium at Safeway on Del Paso Road in the Toblerone on November 14th from 3 to 5. Ronnie Price will be signing autographs at 4 p.m. Details and directions at kings.com.
A little pressure shown here. Timberwolves like to pick up a little bit just to show press, and they backed off.
73-63. Kings will hold for the final shot. There's a difference of about a second and a half. Kings home opener, looking to go to 2-2 on the year. Ron Artest a little bit too strong to beat Garnett. Here is Ronnie Price. No. Sharif, yes, and it counts. Kings rewarded with a chance for a three-point play.
Now that's just hustle and extra effort, pure and simple. Ron Artest penetrates, misses, and look at the ball come in. Ronnie Price after it, tries to get something up. Sharif stays with it and gets the hoop. That's just second, third effort, gets you a basket. Well, the Kings have been very productive at the end of quarters here tonight.
Yes, they have. It's been a big difference. You know, at the end of the half, Garcia hit that
the big three
yep.
And three-point play here.
2.7. There's Floyd, the runner, and that will do it for the third. So an outstanding quarter for Sacramento. They led 46.
Adjustments there for Ron Artest.
Sacramento ball to start this fourth with a nice cushion.
Well, there's no doubt this offense for the Kings is a work in progress. They still kind of finding out what they can do well and what they can't do well, more importantly, and kind of clean it up where they can't.
I would be a little alarmed when this long homestand is over. I'm talking about the entire homestand, which includes a road game in the middle at Golden State and at Seattle. And by the time you get done with that whole stretch, if this offense isn't significantly improved, I would concern you a little bit because they're going to have so much practice time.
Absolutely. I totally agree, and I think that's going to happen. I think you're seeing some strides here tonight, no question about it. Get a little more practice time, just get back in a comfort zone and get into the rotations that you need to. All those little things make a lot of difference on offense. We see Garnett score. But I think the thing that people forget, offense and defense in basketball is so different. It's like football. You have different kind of guys play each side of the ball. But you've got to play offense with patience and poise and confidence. And right now the Kings are just finding their way in those areas.
And Garcia found his way to Sharif Abdul-Rahim.
Again, ball movement went around the perimeter and then penetrated to the basket. So Kings starting, you've seen some comfort zones there on the offensive end.
And Francisco's making some nice plays. And as you said earlier, I mean, he's a guy, as you look at the steal and York, no foul call there, and out of bounds off of Sacramento. But here's my thought. Garcia could be such a valuable member of this bench because we've seen how well he can play. We saw it last year before he got hurt.
Yeah, I honestly just don't believe the Sacramento Kings can be a top-notch team unless Francisco Garcia is part of it. I mean, I think he has to have a role for them to be as good a team as they can be.
There's Hudson. Solomons boxes out Yard. Kings doing a nice job on the glass for rebounding Minnesota by 5. You know, you talk about so many aspects of the game, the little things, and the effort. I mean, basically in every game this year but one. I know this is only the 4th game, but we have seen such an improvement in rebounding. And he thinks it's as simple as just all 5 guys go for the ball now.
It's just that simple. I mean, you're seeing white shirts, shots taken. You can see 4 and 5 guys going after it. And when you're small, you've got to do that. But the Kings are a small team, and they've out-rebounded about every opponent. So effort makes up for a lot of things, especially size.
There's Foy. And York, easy putback.
Just as I said that, Kings really had a terrible effort on the board.
Yes, they did. 80-67. That's Travis. Sacramento turns it over. And Kevin Martin will re-enter the ball game. That's the 17th turnover for Sacramento with 9:33 left in the ball game. Garcia exits. Kevin Martin tonight with 17 points. He's 5 of 7. And once again, Jerry, 17 points on 7 shots. I mean, it's just amazing how well he's done.
He is so productive. And again, teammates certainly are looking for Kevin a lot more now. They realize how good he is in the open court or in the set offense.
5 seconds on the shot clock. Blocked by Artest.
Well, the rookie Randy Foy found out the difference between college basketball and the pros right there. Ron Artest said, welcome, young man, to the NBA.
Artest challenging KG. Martin, a little runner, short. 80-67. Stolen by Ronnie Price. Numbers for Sacramento. Martin. Boy, I hit the side of the backboard. And here's Boyd, side top from 3. And once again, John Solomons has it. That's his 5th rebound.
One of those guys that does a lot of things for you, fills the stat sheet with all-around play. Unfortunately, a bad pass also fills the stat sheet.
And right now, it's 80-69. With just over 8 minutes left.
Too much time to get careless.
Yep.
And you got to remember how you got the lead by out-hustling and out-working the Timberwolves and moving the basketball. And Kings really have gotten away from it.
Here's Garnett. Oh, man. Kevin Garnett took the spill, and let's hope he's okay. KG holding on to the left leg, and they stop it. Let's hope KG is all right. That was a nasty fall as he was holding his left hamstring area. Oh, boy. And Dwayne Casey not happy with the lack of whistle at that end of the floor. Let's take another look at that. Kevin Garnett with 15, and also they've cut the lead to 9. Coming right at you, Kevin Garnett, injured on this play. Although it does not look like he's going to sit down for very long, just looking at him.
Yeah, just kind of trying to rub it out there. I think really the fact that he kind of hung on the rim a little bit, he came down with a bad step.
Yep.
That's kind of what the official was trying to tell Coach Casey.
In the meantime, though, the Kings got careless to allow them right back in the game. Nice pass to Thomas. Oh, that was blocked from behind, out of bounds. Jerry Landry, 1 second on the shot clock for Sacramento here. 1 second on the clock.
You see everybody notifying one another of 1 second means a catch and shoot.
Martin. And that's a 24-second violation. Now, the one thing I want to point out here with 7:26 left, Eric Musselman and the Kings have the number that they want. All right, right now Minnesota is shooting 41.2%. If that holds up, the Kings statistically will win the game because the odds are well in their favor. When you hold a team at 42% or less, you normally win.
Absolutely. Now, the other part of that is the Kings have to continue to score the ball. And the last few possessions haven't been particularly encouraging.
Jerry, the Kings are 49-7 over the last 3 years when they hold an opponent to 42% or less.
Well, I will say this. I don't know what that probably doesn't mean a thing this year. You know, I mean, the last...
Yeah, no, I understand.
You know what I mean? It's one of those stats that will have significance as this year goes on for this team.
Wouldn't you say, though, that league-wide...
It always has been significant. What you don't know is about is the other team for the Kings this year, how effective they can be offensively. It may mean that 42% isn't good enough if they are not effective offensively themselves.
6 on the shot clock. Artest. And a couple of free throws. Tonight, Artest 5 of 6.
The statistics can sometimes be misleading. I mean, I think that's a good accurate stat, but like you say, there's other factors. It's kind of like the guy that, drowned in a river that had an average depth of 3 feet. The fact he was in the part that was 12 foot didn't do him a lot of good.
Oh, my goodness. I'll have to remember that one. 81-71, Bibby comes back. The only starter that's not in double figures.
Ronnie Price, a real solid stint, I think. He not only scored the ball, but he really moved the basketball. Got some guys open looks, and of course, Ronnie, when he's in the game, is always going to give you the hustle.
82-71 with 6:50 left. Detroit in town Wednesday, and the Kings are up until Sunday to take on Toronto.
Much improved Toronto Raptor team.
Here's Hudson. And it'll be Kings ball.
Now, Troy Hudson, scary. That's a little bit of a throw, but as you said earlier, I mean, he can get it going.
Minnesota opened up with a road win on this trip at Denver. Then they lost the next game at the buzzer to Portland, and they're down 11 here with the Lakers ahead tomorrow night. Nice move. Artest.
Yeah, just a nice little two-man game with Mike Bibby and Ron Artest, and Ron just had the mismatch he wanted against the bigger, slower Blount and took him to the hoop.
Kenny Thomas with a foul on James.
Well, this is a little bit of an interesting play now. As you see, Ron Artest is one-on-one. Mike Bibby is cleared out, and he sees the mismatch, the 7-foot Blount trying to guard Ron Artest, and Ron had the open lane to the basket. No Kevin Garnett in the game.
There's Kevin Garnett now in the game.
And now he's back because once no Garnett's in the game, you have no shot blockers, especially if you can beat Blount off the dribble as Artest did.
Well, you remember a couple of years ago, one of the most amazing comebacks we've seen in this building by Minnesota with Kevin Garnett hitting 2 threes in the final seconds of the game. Right from the top of the key. Yark, and nope, he took it. So Minnesota turns it over for the 21st time. Timeout. Sacramento on the way, leading 84-71.
Of his team's 11, team leading the league, 11.7, 11 already tonight. But this is a concerted team thing this year.
5:45 left. Artest kicks out Salmons.
Well, the Timberwolves in their zone again, so Kings have to really move the basketball. And
that's traveling. They're calling him tight, I'll tell you that.
A little hippity hop to the barber shop, and the shop was closed.
Yep. You hate that, don't you, Jerry, when you go to the barber shop and it's closed?
Yeah, you just have to look shaggy, don't you?
Yep. Garnett from the top of the key, and Garnett is off tonight. He's 7 of 15, which for him
is off.
He only has 15 points. Bad pass. Man, those are the type of passes that drive you crazy.
Yeah, that was just too soft. He's already across court, but Kings make up for it.
Bibby and Martin play catch. Oh, what a shot by Mike Bibby!
Mike looking for a call, didn't get it, but able to finish the shot anyway.
And out of bounds, King ball.
Steal in the open court. Mike Bibby to Kmart, right back to Bibby. Thinks he drew a contact, but the official right there says no, but they're able to finish and make the shot anyway. It did look like some contact from this angle.
4:30. Martin a three. Nope.
Kevin Martin really putting up some air balls here from outside. He's just not shooting under balance. He's kind of falling sideways on about all of his last 2 or 3 shots.
Here's Davis. Rebound Martin. I hope his right wrist is okay. He fell down on it in the second quarter, and he's been holding it. He's been shaking it. Yeah, I'm wondering if it's bothering him a little bit.
I'll tell you what, I just noticed that too. He is grabbing it, trying to stretch it out a little bit.
Of course, if you shoot an air ball, a lot of times you do that just to make it look like
you can't admit you missed one that bad.
John Solomon, boy, the last 2 games he has certainly looked good.
He is getting comfortable. And we said this. We thought this is a good basketball player. We just need to know how he fits in on this team, and he'll find ways to produce.
89-71. Sacramento's going to go to 2-2 on the year, and they'll try to get above 500 for the first time against Detroit on Wednesday.
In fact, the Pistons lost tonight. That's going to make it even tougher to beat that veteran team.
Yeah, they're good. And they still have a lot of good pieces. Martin, the second shot. And he'll go to the line.
A little quickness to the basket. And Kmart saw Kevin Garnett. Really knew he had to come up with some kind of shot, and came up with a little circus variety.
Hey, McDonald's and the Rise Guys on Sports 1140 KHTK present Wake Up at the Kings ticket packs for the December 4th Kings Magic game. It'll only be for sale at the McDonald's restaurant on Missouri Flat Road in Placerville, Thursday, November 16th from 6 to 9 in the morning. Call 916-45-KINGS or visit kings.com for more information.
Yeah, I think FP and Phantom and Whitey, they'll all be out there in their PJs. I think Phantom's PJs have little tootsies on.
There's Davis. What a terrible pass that was.
That was terrible.
I honestly think that is a case where the ball just slipped out of his hands, and that's some of the stuff we hear from the players about the ball being slippery. I mean, there's just no way that would happen.
Yeah, certainly enough players are saying that. I mean, you hope as the year goes they'll get more adjusted to the ball, but definitely you see some turnovers that just boggle your mind.
Well, you got 43 combined turnovers in this game. Maybe a three. Garnett.
Well, Mike got about 65% of his threes preseason, and since that injury, wrist injury, has really fallen off. Obviously not shooting the ball as comfortably as he did before.
Mike James with the basket with 2 minutes and 25 seconds left here in the fourth. A lot of fans going home. They know the Kings are going to win their home opener.
Been a solid outing. A couple little left downs.
Martin now 5 of 12. And Mike James in and out. 8 rebounds for Ron Artest.
Right through the Minnesota defense. That was just vintage Ron Artest. off the dribble, beating everybody. Good effort on the boards, good effort defensively and offensively. Other than a few 4 or 5 minute stretches, have been pretty solid. Do you think, Mr. Napier? Ball moved pretty good.
I'm just a little surprised that at this juncture you'd still have the starters on the floor. It's a little unusual.
A little, yeah, I would say so, especially with the total number of minutes they've had to play. Although I think probably Coach Musselman just likes the idea of making sure they're getting a little more comfortable with each other.
Well, that was not a good job defensively by Mike Bibby. 93-77.
Rookie Randy Foy, just nice little coach to the basket.
Plus, you don't know the nuances of Eric Musselman. I mean, this is the first time the Kings have had a blowout win. And, coaches are different the way they play guys down the stretch.
Well, and you do have a new starter in there in Sharif.
Yep.
And then, of course, John Salmons is on the floor. Has played a lot of minutes. So, it may be just as simple as the fact he'd like these 5 guys to play together a little bit, but likes what he sees with this particular unit. And there's a lot you'd like with it. They're a smallish team, but very versatile.
Under a minute. Boy, what a quick first step by Salmons. He missed it. And he paints it home.
I did not hear him call back.
No, I didn't hear
this. Did you?
No.
It's pretty quiet in here, but I did not hear it.
No, I'm with you.
So, do they still count that? I guess they do.
They put it on the board. 93-79.
Mike Bibby going to use as much clock as he can.
Minnesota will conclude their 4-game road trip tomorrow in Minnesota. Traveling. That's clearly traveling. I mean, that would have been traveling last year. There's KG, who finishes tonight with 15 points and 10 rebounds.
Well, just the 93 points. That's a step in the right direction. Not just the win, but you see Randy Foy. He's one of those guys, once he gets minutes and experience, you're going to hear about him having some big nights and big games in this league.
And that's it. The Kings get their win at home to start the season on this portion of the schedule. And they do it shooting 45%. And they hold the Timberwolves to 41%. So another team that shoots below 42%. And it's a win for Sacramento. Final of 93. For the first time this year. I want to talk about your defense first, because I thought you did a marvelous job on Kevin Garnett, and he's obviously a tough customer. I know you try to front him at times, you go behind him. I mean, you got to switch it up on him, don't you?
I mean, it's very difficult because he's so long and
Yep.
he's very athletic. I mean, once he gets the ball on the block, he's going to turn around and shoot that jump shot, and you really can't contest it or do anything to it. So basically, I was just trying to get a hand in his face, and hopefully he missed.
All right, double-double. Let's look at you on some of the highlights. Big third quarter for you. Got your hand on the ball, but you also rebounded very well. And, this offense is going to take a while, but, tonight I thought you guys played pretty well.
I mean, it's just difficult right now. It's a different offense, and coach is trying to get Mike and Ron involved in the offense. And of course, it's going to be a lot more, and then like other guys just got to fit in where they can. So it's a learning process, and we've only played 4 games. So
And it's difficult for you because, as you just said, and you were pretty honest, you're not one of the top 3 options, and you got to look for your points. And you talk about the role, and it's an adjustment for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, because we had a different system last year. We had more elbow action, and then everybody would swing the ball and share the ball. But it's a learning process, and we're going to learn. I think we're a great team, and the sky's the limit for us.
All right, now you take on a team that's very physical coming up on Wednesday in Detroit.
Oh, wow. See, but they don't have Ben. We already went up against Ben, so I don't have to guard Ben this time. So, I mean, they got a lot of players that can score. They got Rip and Chauncey. Those guys are all-stars, and we just got to contain those guys, and hopefully the other guys can miss shots.
Well, I know it's good to be back home where you guys are so successful, and what a difference it makes when you're on your home floor.
Oh, yeah, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Crowds behind you, and you get momentum, and everybody wants to win at home. Nobody wants to lose at home.
Great talking to you, man. Nice game tonight.
Thanks.
Kenny Thomas.